Parshas Behaaloscha, Tavshin Daled. So tonight it's Motzei Shavuos, and it's also Erev Shabbos. Very, very inspirational and very inspiring and very high couple of days. This one day in between, this Erev Shabbos, is like a Chol Hamoed. You know, we have 2 days of Yom Tov here in Chutz La'aretz, and then one day Friday in between, and then comes Shabbos Kodesh tomorrow night, and we're right on Parshas Behaaloscha. The Pasuk says in the Parsha, we discuss the Erev Rav was acting up again, making trouble, and the Pasuk says as follows: V'hasafsuf asher b'kirboi hisavu tava. They had a taiva, the Erev Rav in Klal Yisrael. They wanted something. Vayashuvu vayivku gam b'nei Yisrael. B'nei Yisrael, they came to B'nei Yisrael. They started stirring up trouble, and people started crying. Vayoimru, and they said, Mi yachilenu basar. Who is going to give us meat to eat? In other words, we want meat to eat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was very unhappy with this situation. And the Pasuk says, Vaiter vayichar af Hashem ma'oi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't just angry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyachal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was very angry at what was going on here. Uve'enei Moshe ra. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was extremely upset with Klal Yisrael at this point. And the Nesivos Shalom says that really we need to try to understand what exactly this chet was, and what was the Isser. What did these people in Klal Yisrael want now? What did they want? They wanted to have meat. And if you ask me, I would tell you that what kind of meat did they want? They certainly wanted meat mit the beste hechsheira. They wanted every hechsher in the book should be in Hebrew words, Yiddish words, English words, whatever hechsher you want on the meat. Definitely this meat was going to have that. And it was going to have every chumrah, and every hiddur, and every dikduk. This meat was going to be, for sure, the most kosher meat you can ever consume. You can ever try to get. So what was so bad? It was so bad, we see, that the Pasuk tells us, right, Vayichar af Hashem ma'oid. Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was extremely upset. Not just upset and angry with Klal Yisrael. It was extreme. And a little bit later, the Torah tells us about the punishment that Klal Yisrael got for this. And the Torah says, Va'af Hashem chora ba'om vayach Hashem ba'om. HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished Klal Yisrael. Vayach Hashem ba'om makor rabom me'oid. Not just a makkah, but something very extreme. An extremely severe punishment. And furthermore, we could ask, what did the Bnei Yisrael, really, what did they want basar for? Why did they need meat? Did they not have the mun? The mun, we know, could have tasted like anything that they wanted. And of course, if it could taste like anything they want, then the mun, of course, could have tasted like meat if they wanted. It certainly included the taste of meat. So what did they want over here? Why did they want dafka to have meat if they could have had the mun that tasted just like the meat? You want to taste the rib, you want to taste rib steak, you want to taste any good, delicious, and maybe nutritious type of meat, just ask for it. Just have in mind that it should taste like the most delicious meat you ever wanted. It's also interesting to note that the Torah tells us, when Klal Yisrael was asking for this meat, right after that, the Torah tells us that the Bnei Yisrael said the following. They said, Zocharnu es hadoga, asher noichal b'mitzrayim china. We remember very well the fish that we ate in Mitzrayim for free. So, Frek the Nesivos Shalom over here, who is talking about fish? Klal Yisrael just came and said they wanted meat. All of a sudden, we switched the item to fish. Didn't they say just now that they wanted meat? Where does the fish come in over here? And the Sifri, too, the Sifri asks a very interesting question over here also on this pasuk. It says that they remember when in Mitzrayim they got the fish for free? I don't understand. What is this about free fish in Mitzrayim? If you learn through the Torah, and you learn through the Parshas of the extreme avodah, the extreme work, the extreme, they were tormented, Klal Yisrael was having a very hard time in Mitzrayim. They didn't even get the bricks that they were supposed to, the mortar, they didn't get any of that they were supposed to build with. They did not get any of that for free. They had to pay for that too. So where do you see that they got free fish in Mitzrayim? Has anybody seen that there was a sushi bar in Mitzrayim, that they were giving out fish for free? There was no such thing. So what does it mean? Zocharnu es hadoga, we remember the fish that we got for free in Mitzrayim. So the Sifri gives an explanation and says what this has to mean. Of course, we're not talking about currency, monetary things over here. It says we remember the fish that we got when we were free from mitzvahs, when we weren't encumbered by all these things that we have to do now. Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling us we have to do things now. Then we were, quote, free from mitzvah. So, but really, Nesivos Shalom, so how do we understand this whole episode over here? Nesivos Shalom brings from the Sefer Pri Haaretz. That person has to know, you have to understand something about yourself. That really what stimulates taiva in a person, what stimulates taiva in a human being, is the meichel gashmi, the food that is eaten. That is what generates and begins taiva in a person. In the Midbar, what were the Bnei Yisrael what were they doing? Bnei Yisrael in the Midbar, they didn't eat food, they ate spiritual food. They ate man. They ate man, which is a food of malachim. It did not create any taivas. The man was not regular food. It was very, very high, at a very high spiritual level. It didn't create taivas in the person. And what the Asaf wanted, what the Erev Rav wanted, the Torah is telling us, is they wanted to feel these taivas. From the man, they could not get that. They wanted to feel that. So, of course, the man could have tasted like the meat. They could have had the man taste like anything that they wanted at any time. But it was the taivas and the actual meat, that the actual meat, the physical food creates. That's what they wanted. And that's why the Pasuk tells us, that's why they said, Mi yachilenu basar. Who is going to feed us this meat to feel the actual gashmias of the meat? The taste, of course, the spiritual taste, they could have had that from the man. The Pasuk says, Mi yachilenu basar. That's what they wanted. They wanted real food that causes taivas in a person. Therefore, Vayichar Hashem ma'od. Nesivos Shalom tells us that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu was extremely angry with Klal Yisrael. And that is exactly what made HaKadosh Baruch Hu angry. Because we know, when a person falls, he slips up, and he does an Aveira. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a Rachum, V'chanon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu always looks at the good side of us. And he looks for a tzad chus, and we could say, you know what? Maybe it wasn't oinus. Maybe the person, it was hard to control your taiva. But if somebody knows what they want, and you know what you're doing, and you still want it, and you ask for the Yetzer Hara to bring the taiva on yourself, that really angers HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you know what you're doing, and you're consciously aware of what's going to happen to you, and still you want it, then Vayichar Hashem ma'od. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets very upset with a person. And when they said, Zocharnu es hadoga asher noichal china, that they had for free, it refers to these taivas, that in Mitzrayim they were able to feel these taivas and fill themselves without being weighed down and encumbered by all the mitzvahs. They wanted to have enjoyment, even if it wasn't an enjoyment that comes from the mitzvahs and the Ratzon Hashem. That wasn't enough. They needed to feel good about themselves in a way of taivas, in a way that they wanted to enjoy themselves in a way that had nothing to do with the Ratzon Hashem. And Zocharnu es hadoga, we can't get into the whole thing right now, but Zocharnu es hadoga is from a lashon of vayidgu l'roi. They had a taiva of a lashon of vayidgu, a taiva of relationships that now they couldn't have once they had the mitzvahs and the isurim, that the Torah that comes along with it. They couldn't have any relationship they wanted. V'yidgu l'roi, and that is a lashon of daga. That is something that they wanted. Now that they were following the mitzvahs, they couldn't have those things. So really, what was actually so bad about this that it angered HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much? Nesivos Shalom says a beautiful mahalach over here. The entire reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Bnei Yisrael through the Midbar was to bring up their level. Put them on a level toward Kabbalas HaTorah, a level of making the level much higher before they go into Eretz Yisrael. They needed to have a total tikkun. Therefore, what did Klal Yisrael? They had very special things in the Midbar. Klal Yisrael ate man. They drank from the Be'er. These were things that were not Derech HaTeva. They were surrounded by Ananei HaKavod. They learned Torah with Moshe Rabbeinu. Listen to these amazing things that they had in the Midbar. They were surrounded by everything that was totally ruchnius. And to raise their level, they needed all these things. And all these things, the Be'er, the Man, all these things turned them into extremely spiritual people. And the Erev Rav didn't want that. The Erev Rav knew that the only way to bring down a person's level, no matter how high they are, no matter how well you're doing in your life, no matter how well you're learning in yeshiva, no matter how much chesed you think you're doing, the Yetzer Hara knows, and the Erev Rav knew this too, the only way is to bring down a person's level is to give him taivas. Give you things, not things that necessarily are so usher. You know what? The Yetzer Hara tells a person, I'm going to give you things that technically mutter. What's wrong with meat? You could be Mekayim Torah mitzvahs with all the chumras and everything, but I'll give you a few taivas. Because taivas are the thing that separates a yid from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Moshe Rabbeinu said over here, Yan ki ma'astem es Hashem asher bekir bechem. You, what did you mess up over here? You messed up the HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's inside the yid. Not necessarily by your actions, inside you, Bekir Bechem, the neshama of a yid that strives for spirituality, that strives to be high, that strives to be on a very close level to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is what you are doing over here that's wrong. The Chelek Hashem that is within you, when you bring taivas, when you follow your taivas, that you're going to ruin that relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So even though there really was no isser in eating meat, it goes against connecting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if it goes against connecting a person with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's bad and it's wrong. And that's a lesson that we all need to learn. And we need to keep with us all the time. That sometimes things can seem like they're technically okay. And that's the way the Yetzer Hara wants us to feel. He embellishes everything, that everything is beautiful. You're not being over. You know, you tell somebody you might be doing something wrong. He tells you, he holds up a chumash. Yeah, show me in the book. Show me where it's usher. Show me right here where it's usher. But there's more to life than that. There's understanding that we have a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we have to maintain. And every time you go after your taivas, if you fall, you're separating yourself a bit from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It distances you from Hashem. And what we strive for is, we just passed the Yontiv of Shavuos, we strive for Dveikus B'Hashem. All of the mitzvahs are made for that purpose, to bring us closer to Hashem. So remember, just because something is technically mutter, and the Torah doesn't tell you, no, you can't eat meat, but why are you doing it? Why do you do other things in your life? Yeah, it's mutter. It's mutter to have sometimes every type of gashmis and everything. Oh, the Torah, Shulchan Aruch doesn't say aser, but inside you know. Your neshama is crying out to you, tells you no. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like that. Let's keep these lessons in mind. Let us remember, let us understand that what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants is a close relationship with us. Let us learn the lessons of Parshas Behaaloscha, and there are many, and we should taka be zoicha to internalize this message.